All right, here we are rolling into 40.
I think it
Is
is
this one
40.
40 or is it 30? I think this is 40.
I think
Pretty
it is
sure the
40.
last one was 39. We took a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
We both just had some stuff going on. Work's crazy, everything going
Mhm.
on. It was like, we're going to take a couple weeks and kind of regroup. So here we are. This one might have a little bit of our normal just rambling. We're going to talk about some maintenance stuff we've been doing, different things we've got going on, and some marketplace headaches that I've had. We'll definitely talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so all right, well let's get going. You ready to get started, Chris?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, well let's start off talking about maintenance stuff because you've been posting some reels and things. You're doing way better about that than I am with the stuff you've
No,
been
I've
doing.
got I've got a lot of stuff I've been doing. I've been trying to record some little things. I need to get better about sitting down and editing things and throwing them out there for us and my personal stuff. So that way, just to kind of help. But I've been recording a lot of little stuff. So, and apparently that's the thing everybody wants is like the reels and the shorts. And so
Well,
we
our
just got to
attention
get,
spans are like 20
yeah,
seconds long these days. So
yeah, we got that's a humanity thing. But no, that is something that we're working on ourselves that way to kind of help us with this process to get a little farther along for you guys. But no, I bought that my daughter that well, first off, several weeks ago, the fuel pump went out of my Suburban, and it being a 3/4 ton, the first year of the GMT 800s, they've got dual tanks. The main pump went out of it. I've had the thing for 5.5 years now, and the whole time I've had it, the pump's been loud. And
are
I
they in
went,
tank pumps?
yeah, they're in tank pumps, big tanks. It's got dual tanks, but like it's got one tank above the spare and one tank that's a saddle tank down the driver's side. I think it's like total like almost 38 gallons, 38 and a half gallons. Uh, Maybe 39, but
That'll
it's
get you
up
about
there.
310 miles.
Pretty much. No, it doesn't do terrible, but like on the highway, like if you cruise at like 70, 72, it'll get 15 to 16 miles a gallon, which is not crazy, but I mean, for being a 3/4 ton, it's got the worst gearing setup that they had in them. I've got bigger tires on it, heavy tires and wheels. It's not like lifted or anything, but it's leveled and just with turning the keys up, and then got the big old, you know, I like to call them sails hanging off the side, then big old tow mirrors, and it doesn't help.
Right.
But if I'm doing like 80, keeping up with traffic, I'm getting like 12, 13. But you get cruise about 70, 72, you get about 15, 16 miles a gallon. I need to get better about just doing that, and just I used to be really good with it, but then trying to just get everywhere, get in a hurry, and got to slow down a little bit. But no, the fuel pump went out of it. I was literally 2.5 hours from home when it happened. I had just filled it up naturally. Uh, I had a friend get me home, and I posted a thing on Facebook. And old guy that I never knew personally, other than through Facebook, I knew both of his older brothers from high school. He reached out to me. He's like, "Hey man, I got a truck and a trailer." He goes, "I can come do it this evening or tomorrow." And I was like, "Dude, if we could do it tonight, that'd be great." And so I drove all the way. I got to work that morning, drove back down there that evening, and my friend drove me down there, dropped me off, and then he came and picked me up, and we loaded up on a trailer, and which was exciting because the trailer we had the winch on it, the clutch kept disengaging. The very first time we were rolling up, we got the thing up on it, and then the clutch disengaged on the winch, and it started rolling back down off the trailer. So that was
Eh,
exciting. But so after that, like here he is, and like the switch was broken for the winch. So in order to activate the winch, you had to like just touch a couple wires together. It was great. It was an adventure,
yeah,
and
that sounds like something I would have.
it was amazing. I mean, everything that happens with me turns out into an adventure like this. So we got the Suburban on there. We got it home. He was super chill. I mean, I'm like, dude, I will buy you dinner, buy your fuel. You know, we can do some Dutch ruddering if you want. I mean, but I don't know if anybody ever knows that. Look it up. It's great. But
Chris is a full service
yeah. Well, I mean,
assistant.
you're not, but anyway. So we got it back, and then my buddy David, uh, he helped me. We ordered some pumps for the thing. I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to put both of them in it. The one in the auxiliary tank above the spare is a transfer pump. And I'm like, well, the thing's a 2000. It's got 145,000 miles on it. I'm going to do them both. So I did the main pump first on his lift, and that was pretty cool. I pulled it in there and like got it really close to the passenger side of it, up right on the lift. The tank is on the driver's side. I pulled it in there and I jacked up the rear end of the Suburban, put it on these jack stands. And then I took the arms of the lift and lifted the main pump, the main tank, and lowered it up and down with the arms of the lift. So then that way I
Okay.
wasn't trying to, because it had a full tank. Well, it had a full tank. I quickly lost at least half my fuel all over me, the floor, swallowed some of it. It was a good
No.
time. It was great. I was not having a good night. So I got that's pump swapped out, drove it home that night. And then I drove it for about a week. And then we dropped the secondary tank out and I put the other pump in. That was a lot easier because there was no fuel in it at that point. So I did write on the bottom of the tank with a paint marker the mileage. I've gotten bad about, maybe it's an old man thing, but I wrote the mileage on the bottom of the tank, said both pumps replaced, wrote the date, and then wrote fuck you. Put it all back together, put the spare back up in there. And then my daughter's Monte Carlo that I bought earlier this year. It's been a great car, but it's not without its quirks. I mean, I paid $900 for it. The 3/8s, they're pretty solid, but they have their issues. So the thing is like typical fashion. The motor mounts in it are shot. Motor kind of flops around a little bit, and this kid's learned how to do burnouts with it, which is pretty funny. Uh, Somebody may have taught her how to do parking brake burnouts. So,
Nice.
but so the other week she called me and was having issues with it getting hot, and it was losing antifreeze, and then it was losing power steering fluid and all this shit. So put in on those things, the power steering pump is like on the passenger side, right up behind the firewall, like oh, you got the firewall, and then like you got to reach your hand back down in this hole that you can't even see to get to the power steering pump. It's a nightmare.
Geez. So
Yeah, it
it's
sucks.
on the side. So those are front wheel.
Yeah, they're front wheel drive,
Okay.
and
And so obviously passenger side, but like at least, with like when my daughter, when we had to do the power steering pump on her Civic, it was like it's right at the front. It's very easy
no,
to get to. So it's the opposite. It's
it's
like
on the
back by the
back.
firewall.
So you got the strut tower, and then like there's a firewall, and then it's like right down this little hole, like down underneath the alternator is
You
a
have to get to it
bitch.
from underneath.
You can get to it from up top, but you got to have a funnel with a long, flexible end. And so I had a thin, long funnel, and then my buddy had a hose. I slipped on the end of it and was able to get down in there. But the problem, I put fluid in it like a week or so ago, and then she calls me earlier this week, and she's like, "This car's doing this stupid thing again where it doesn't have power steering." And I'm like, so she was leaving work to go, or leaving her school to go to the Votech school she goes to. And I was like, well, come by my office, get my Suburban. I'll take your car tonight and look at it. So I went and put it on the lift, and David and I were looking at it, and we had it up in the air. I was putting fluid in it. He's like, whoa, stop, stop. He goes, shit's going everywhere. And I'm like, well, I'm not putting any more fluid in it. He goes, well, it's still coming out. I'm like, well, I have stopped. And so we got underneath them and got to looking. And there was like this little like snap together heat shield thing wrapped around the steering rack. So the steering rack it's got a giant aluminum cradle, and the steering rack is like right where the firewall comes down, starts going to the bottom of the car. The rack's right there. And then there's two small transfer tubes that on the rack that equalize pressure from each side of the rack, if you know what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. And then
Yeah.
uh, there's a high pressure line that goes from the pump to the rack as well, and then a return. Well, because of the motor mounts being so bad and the engine rocking, it had worn a hole in one of these transfer tubes. It wore a hole up against the transmission dipstick, and it was just starting to spray like crazy out of this transfer tube on the rack. Which
Jeez.
the line is $9 on Rock Auto. So I ordered both transfer tubes and a high pressure line. I ordered a whole kit of all 4 or 5 motor mounts that it takes. So I'm gonna do all the motor mounts.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think it's 2 main ones, and then there's 2 like torque mounts that mount to the top of the engine, and then they go to the radiator support.
Mhm.
And then there's like another bracket with a bushing in it there. They come with everything. It's like $77 for all these mounts. So you know they're good quality. But like a week
Exactly.
ago, I took the car and did a coolant flush because it was getting hot on her. And I did a coolant flush. I put a 180 thermostat in it, and it's and the air dam was off of it. I put the air dam back on it, and I want to hook up
It
HP
makes a big
tuners on.
difference.
Yeah, I want to put the HP tuners on it and lower the fan temperatures a little bit since I put a colder thermostat in it. But it runs great. And but then they were freaking out saying it'll come up and say low oil pressure. The sending unit's going bad for the oil pressure too. So it'll be perfect. And then the car gets some heat in it and the sending unit starts to fail. And it makes you panic, but you can watch the needle. It'll get to a certain point and it kind of wobbles and then it drops to nothing. And then it starts beeping
Mm,
at you, low oil pressure. And I'm like, God damn
yeah.
it. But the
That's what
car is
Dad's
quiet.
Silverado was doing right before we sold it.
So it was like $120 and I ordered the high pressure line, the 2 balance tubes, sending unit, and all the motor mounts. And so they're supposed to be here tomorrow. And then I just ordered 4 new tires for the Caprice. They showed up today. I ordered them yesterday on Amazon.
Jeez.
Yeah, they were supposed to be
I've
here
noticed a
tomorrow.
lot of stuff. I've noticed a lot of stuff says like, next day or whatever. And I'm like, usually I'm pretty skeptical, but
Yeah, well, I ordered them. They're supposed to be here
sometimes.
Friday. And I went over to the house and I got my wheels. What's that?
Do y'all have a distribution center anywhere near you
We've got a
that you know of, like a
couple.
warehouse?
We've got a
Yeah.
couple. A couple of really big ones. And one of them they just built last year. And then we
Yeah.
have like a couple one that used to be a Kmart and they converted it into a distribution center. So yeah, we've got 2 of them like literally in the town that I was in tonight going and doing
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah. They built one for us. I don't know. I guess it's been 5 or 6 years ago now, maybe a little
really,
longer. But only recently did we start getting like if you order something, an Amazon van shows up. Like
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
had the distribution center closed, but we still everything came UPS or whatever. And
yeah,
like
yeah,
now
yeah.
we got a lady that drives the Amazon van and she'll show up and bring stuff. So
Okay, cool.
it's crazy.
But yeah, I got to the house today and the tires were here. I went ahead and took my wheels and tires over to David's place and dropped them off. And then I got a guy that's going to mount them for me Saturday morning at one of the shops we deal with. So I went ahead, instead of me riding around for 2 days with 8 wheels and tires in my car, I've got pictures of that. So I drove them over and dropped them off at his place. I'm going to try to take them over tomorrow night. I'm going to get off work and go help him clean his shop a little bit since I've been destroying it the last few weeks. He's got a couple jobs he's going to do. He's got to pull the trans and diff out of his Corvette again. He's getting ready to go to a race next month. He's got a little bit of work he wants to do, and the shop floor has been destroyed.
He's not doing LS Fest this year, is he?
Nah, he's not. I don't know what he's doing. I think it's some drift event or something. But no, I went over and tonight dropped him off, and then I think I'll go tomorrow, help him clean the shop floor a little bit, and then either Saturday morning early or tomorrow evening when I get off work, I'm gonna drop those wheels and tires off at the shop, and then pick them up sometime Saturday after my boys' football game. It's just busy. And then tonight I went and helped this boy work on his truck, uh, squatted OBS, but first time I went to go over there, he called me. He's like, "Don't make fun of me. My truck squatted a little bit." He goes, "But it's got airbags in the back and they're all the way out." I was like, "So you're saying it's squatted, but you got airbags, so it's okay." It's
So you
actually,
could fix it, but
yeah,
you're
but you won't.
choosing not to. I think that's worse,
Yeah. Yeah.
to be honest. To
It
know you
is.
could raise it up and not look like a jackass.
I mean, he's a nice kid, and like I said, I've known his parents for a very long time. But no, I mean, he's just
Don't get me wrong.
young.
I look like a jackass quite often too, doing different things. I'm not saying he's not a nice kid, but
No,
I
I'm
just can't
like,
get behind the squatted truck.
I can't get behind. It's a really, I mean, it's an OBS, and it's a 25-year-old crew cab 3/4 ton, which are stupid hard to find. And
Yeah,
it's
you definitely don't see a lot of
no,
crew cab.
it's decently clean, but it's not without its issues. 25-year-old truck that a 17-year-old kid's owned for a while that has started like chopping things up on it. So I'm like, but
Yeah,
I
but
want to
isn't
go
that
over.
what our parents said about us?
No, it
Like,
is.
stop messing with the damn thing. Just drive
No,
it.
it is. And I'm over there and I'm like, okay. I can't bitch at this kid too much because I've done all this same shit. But in order for him to get to the point where he realizes this, he's gonna have to go through all this stuff. And, it's just you'll go through those stages of things where you'll do and, like, there's stuff that I did to my Trans Am, things I tore apart and destroyed because 'cause I'm like, "Ah, fuck it, I don't need it." And then now I'm like, "Damn, I wish I wouldn't have done that." And so
Mhm.
then it's then put me in the issues, like, with my car where sometimes I get overwhelmed with it, and I'm like, I just don't there's so much going on, there's so much I have to try to source and find, and I don't wanna deal with it right now, and I need to get over that eventually, but, and that's why I guess I mess with everything else because, like, alright, the bulk of everything is there. I'll just replace what's bad. But then the Trans Am, I got to replace what's bad. But then I see all this other shit that's missing because me, being an intellectual, decided to destroy this shit when I was a kid. That I can't get this stuff very well now, and so then I get irritated about being around it and just don't want to do it. But that's what I'm trying. I'm like, look, kid, just let me help you. Chill. Don't your mom was kind of right. Let her when she's bitching at you about don't do this. There's probably a reason why she's been down that road.
Mhm.
It's weird full circle thing there we get. But no, I mean,
The
I've been
circle
pretty
of
busy.
rust.
Yeah. No, I've been pretty busy, but no, the wheels I'm putting on my Caprice, they aren't exactly what I wanted, but they're like I bought them back in April in West Virginia, and then they're a set of 19-inch wheels. I have the factory 18s on it right now, and I've ran the 20 Camaro 20s for a while, but um, I wanted to go to something with a little bit more sidewall. I'm keeping my Steelies. I'm not getting rid of them. I'm keeping the original wheels, but I wanted something else, and so these are like a multi-spoke wheel. I really wanted like a F14, but I don't have F14 money, and these are kind of like a knockoff. I think they're like a drag 37 or something. I think the guy originally got them from Discount Tire. I don't know. I paid $200 for four wheels and tires. And then the tires were
Nice.
too big for my car, but I ordered a set of like Westlake, I think what they are, like 255 40 19s square to go on it. So that way I can rotate them. And they're all black wheel. I'm not a big fan of all black wheels, but they fit the budget and they don't look terrible. And I figured I'll clean them up, put them on the car. And I can, maybe they're a wheel that I can experiment with different colors of plastic dip. I've kind of thought about a bronze color or doing like a gunmetal
I
color.
love a white car with bronze.
Yeah.
When I had my RSX, that was all I wanted was the bronze E37s and the pearl white paint job. Like that was always the goal until I
Yeah. Oh
traded the
yeah. Yeah.
car. But
No, I figured I'll clean them up, throw them on. I mean, I've put them on the car to see how they look, and I don't hate it. So I'll put them on, see how I like it. I've already rolled the quarters on the back of the car when I put the bigger 20s because I had like a 285 30 20 or something on the back. And then my Steelies, I got a good deal on some cheap tires a couple years ago, but they were way bigger than the factory ones and they rubbed a little bit. So I rolled and pulled the rear quarters a little bit. But these should be fine. I mean, they're a 255 40 19. Like I said, I had a 285 30 20 on the back for a while. And I've had like a 245 50 18 on it, which are like stupid tall. And they did all right. So these should be fine. I don't know. I'm kind of excited just to throw something out. This is the only car I've ever had that like I change wheels on all the time. I've always like either kept what they call like my Suburban. I put another set of wheels on it, but I bought the Suburban in like January of 2020, and I've got the original like 2500 clad aluminum wheels. They are minty, 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 but they're like 16 by 6.5 inch wide or something or seven. They're really skinny wheels,
mm,
but they're like really good shape. But they have the original size tires on. They're in the at the house, and the tires are shot. They were really dry rotted. I drove it very little on them, and then I bought my Hummer H2 wheels, and that are on the thing now. But they've been on there for over 5 years now. And I've debated on swapping them out, but then I'm like, man, they work. And like when I bought those Hummer wheels, paid $300 for them, and people now are
mhm.
paying like 700-800 bucks for a set of those things. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should keep them unless I got a really good deal on a set of like polished, like bullet holes, like 16s or something, and like some like 30 good, nice 33s.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I've thought about my 14, the wheels that are on it, they're a factory GM wheel. They're designed almost like the torque thrust, and they're chrome, but they're a six, spoke or whatever. but the same kind of idea. And I love the way they look. And Dad always loved those wheels. He's like, "Don't ever sell those. If you get ready to get rid of those, I want them on my truck. I'll buy them from you, and you can get some other ones." And I've thought about going like a 22 or 24 or something on my truck.
All right.
I mean, it's a two wheel drive, and put like a 3.5 lower end kit on it. But like every time I think about it, I'm like, but I really like those wheels. Like I like how they look. And I gave $250 for them for
Yeah.
all four with tires.
Are they
So
20s?
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would almost keep them and then do like the 3.4 or 3.5, whatever drop, and
Mhm.
you'd have a decent sidewall still. It would ride decent. And that was kind of the reason why I want to get away from my 20s because I wanted to maybe autocross the car a little bit more. And like I was because I got a picture on my work computer that you took at LS Fest. And I'm like, damn, that rim is so close to hitting the ground on my turns.
Yeah.
And the car did well with them. And like I drove that car a lot with those wheels and tires on it, and I loved it. But it just got to the point where I drove, back and forth to LS Fest like 3 times with them on there, all over Virginia, up and down the East Coast. And I'm like, I wanted something with more sidewall, and I debated on finding a set of like some of the 18-inch V6 Camaro wheels and putting correct tires on them to fit my car. Some of them don't look terrible. I don't hate them, but then I know we've talked about possibly doing this thing next month in Atlanta.
Mhm.
And I'm like, man, my tires are very thin. They're not going to make it's not safe at this point for me to drive from here to Georgia and back on what I had on the car. So I'm like, I need to just bite the bullet, buy some tires. I still have my Camaro 5020s if anybody's interested in a set, but they have tires on them that will fit a Caprice G8 or an SS. They are just super not good, but they're good for mock up.
Yeah. I wonder if I were to make it kind of a goal to get my WS6 wheels back on the car and play with the tune a little bit and maybe drive it up to the
I
event in
would.
Atlanta. I don't know. Like, so, elephant in the room there. This is the first year for, 3 years for me and I think 4 for you that we won't make LS Fest where I think, life just got in the way. We both were intending to go. It's always a conflict for me because Daniel's birthday is always, I mean, it's
Yeah.
always. Daniel's birthday is the third. And because it's
So
right at the beginning of
close.
the month, if we do his birthday party or whatever, like have his friends over, it's Labor Day weekend. And a lot of people are out of town. So then we end up with like a kid and like nobody can really come to his birthday party because they're out of town or whatever. So we would
Right.
usually end up doing it the week after. Well, that's usually when we were at LS Fest. So that didn't really work. And so we would end up shifting it like either a week early or we would do it a week later or whatever. And this year I was just like, I'm gonna stay home with him. There's this event in Atlanta, so we'll make that. I emailed him the other day and told him, in case they had like a waiting list for media passes, I didn't want him to be holding a spot, and then me not show
Right.
up.
Right.
So I'll let Carrie know. And yeah, I don't know. I think in a way it's a relief. It's a lot to coordinate to go, and I know especially for Steve and the guys when they're racing and stuff like it's
Hmm.
so much work. And like you were running last year, I've only ever went. All I got to do is make sure I got all my camera gear and a bunch of empty memory
Right.
cards. I'm usually good to go, but still hotel room and everything else. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be nice to do something close to home. So the event in Atlanta is the Nopi Nationals, which is interesting to me that it's coming back. It's been like a decade.
Yeah. So I've seen some Nopi events up here. There was one earlier this month, and
Well, it was Nopi National, so they did want an
okay.
MIR.
Yeah. 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 So MIR is not far from me, like 2.5 hours, maybe
Yeah,
two
by the time
hours.
I realized they were doing the one in Atlanta in September, I went looking into it, and they're doing 2 events. They were doing MIR, and then they're doing, the one at, I think it's Atlanta Motor Speedway. Atlanta Motor Speedway is not that far from me. I think my boys might wanna go. We're gonna try to figure something out if they wanna go, and we'll just go check it out. I mean, it's probably gonna be a lot of tuner stuff. Like I was looking, they have like drag race classes and all that stuff, but a lot
Hmm.
of it looked like definitely, like all the rules are definitely geared towards, like tuner and import stuff, which
Yeah.
is
I
cool. I
haven't
mean,
looked.
I'm into it all. So
I haven't looked at it. I did briefly, but is there like classes you sign up for? Or is it just like a car show thing?
there are classes. There's some kind of racing and stuff. I didn't dive too deep into it because I mean I'll just be going as a spectator. Although I guess I could reach out and see if I could get a media pass to it.
Well, and
But
see, that's what I was debating on. I'm like, man, would it be worth, like you said, the media thing or just doing the car show thing? And like, we could go park our cars and then talk to people.
yeah, Yeah.
And then that way, like my car's got all the logos and shit on it, and we could just park together and hang out and go do our thing, bring a tent and chairs and lawn chair nationals.
Yeah. Do the old man stuff.
But no, watch the racing and stuff, and I don't know, it could be
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, just the fact that they're bringing it back. I know there's another pretty big show, I think in like North Carolina somewhere that
Okay.
same weekend, and so some people are like, "Well, it's probably not going to do well because this other show." But I think I think that they're underestimating the power of nostalgia. And it's funny. I even seen Cooper Bogetti posted the other day a thing. It said like, millennials, spend so much time being nostalgic that like they're holding society back or something. And I was like, okay, whatever, because I'm nostalgic as hell. Like,
Yeah, I am too.
but I think everybody gets that way, and maybe it's just midlife. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like I've been back into collecting CDs and records and stuff just
Yeah.
because the well, and I'll tell you, man, like I'm a music guy, and I know you are too.
Mhm.
But one thing that like I knew it, but I didn't really think about much anymore is like when MP3s got big and you could burn 100 songs on a single CD, that's what we all did because now I don't have to change CDs every time I want to hear a song or whatever. I can just burn a whole bunch of them onto one CDR and pop in there. For you young kids who might be listening, we went on the internet, we downloaded music, and then we had to manually like make a CD to put in our car. We couldn't just fire up Spotify. But I was thinking about it, even Spotify's got to be compressing the the audio files, to a pretty significant like degree,
Yeah.
and so you're losing some
A little
quality
bit
there.
there. Yep.
And I didn't really think about it a ton, and so I was out somewhere and I bought a CD for an album that I'd been listening to on Spotify for a while. And I popped it into my truck, and like between the decent speakers that are in my truck and the tens that I added under the back seat, it was a night and day difference. It was like I'm sitting here listening to, a real concert. I can hear the bass line, I can hear
Mhm.
everything in it. And just so much that I think gets muddied in when they compress it and stuff that so it does have me nostalgic. Like I'll hit the Goodwill and pick up some
Yeah.
CDs and stuff when I have a chance. But
So, I've got, in my Trans Am, I've got 2 CD cases that have all the CDs that I burnt through middle school and high school in. And
yeah.
so, like any of the CDs that I had for there's a few that maybe that my kids have or like, maybe gotten lost or whatever, but I'd say 90% of the CDs that I've ever owned are in my Trans Am right now. And I've got a head unit in it from a 4th gen, and so I've got my original actually got some Panasonic or Pioneer 6x9s in my Trans Am that my uncle bought in the early '90s, had in his
Mhm.
3rd gen, took them out, and then he gave them to me. That's what's in my Trans Am, and I've got the original 1986 Pontiac speakers in the dash that still work,
The
and I
paper
get in there,
cone
yeah, and I'll ride around
specials.
listening to some, like, Ball with the Ball, like, well, Ball with the Ball, like the, Devil Without a Cause album or
Mhm.
from Kid Rock,
Had that one.
or I'll have, that one stayed in the CD player for years. I'd hop in there and that's the CD that played, or I'd have, Disturbed, I think Believe CD was in there.
So mine was Three Doors Down,
Okay,
Better Life, and then Away from the Sun. I had those 2. Played those a
okay,
lot. And then I had a Van Halen Greatest Hits CD that one got
yeah,
played a lot. Like, I think I've said
yeah,
before, like, cruising down the road, like, my nostalgia song is Panama. I throw that on
oh,
and,
yeah.
would ride. But, then some System of a Down later on, once I had a
So,
sub
like,
in my car and all that.
I think it was the very first Greatest Hits album from Aerosmith. I listened to that one a lot. Like, it had Back in the Saddle in it on and, all those songs on it, and
Mhm.
then what else was it that I listened to a lot? Oh, I remember it was, like, I think the very first Jason Aldean album that came out,
Mm.
Hicktown, and
Mhm.
I had that CD in there. I just remember listening to that song all the time. Or then the Brooks& and Dunn with, a Hillbilly Deluxe. That was my
That's my
jam.
song, man.
My
You've seen the
god.
pictures of my truck. Like, I had a Brooks& and
Yeah,
Dunn tag on it. There was a
yeah,
Brooks& and Dunn front plate in dad's shed. I was over at his
yeah.
house one day, and I was kinda just looking through 'em. He goes, "You know, you back there stealing my tags?" I was like,
So,
"I ain't
we
stealing
saw
nothing."
we saw 'em live back in March, and you could definitely tell that they weren't up to snuff. I think it was right after that right around there. What's his name? He had some throat issue or something going on.
Mhm.
So there was a couple times they didn't quite do as well. And then like a week or two after that, they I think either called off the rest of the tour or canceled a few of the dates because of being sick. So we lucked out when we saw them. But I was like, man, I'm gonna be mad if they don't play uh Hillbilly Deluxe. But I was like, but then I was like, that's a song that I really enjoyed from that was a time where I was just out of school. We were cruising all the time, and that's what
Mhm.
everybody was listening to. I mean, that was 20 years ago at this point. And so that's not, I mean, it's a popular song, but it wasn't like, Boot Scoot and Boogie or, any of the big ones or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah, I
mean, it
mean,
was
I'm the type, like
justifiable they didn't play it. I
yeah.
was
I
upset though.
mean,
I missed it.
I always liked the songs that weren't, quite as mainstream as it's
Right.
not that I'm, like, deep or anything. It's just the stuff that resonated with me. Like, for me, I mean, I love Brooks and Dunn, but, like, when it comes to country music, I mean, don't get me wrong, George Strait is amazing.
Yeah.
Alan Jackson obviously is, you know, a great, country music artist, but and some people say these guys are big too, but folks like Clint Black, Neil McCoy, the folks that you don't hear as much about now, but I
Right.
mean, Aaron Tippin, like I loved all that stuff, man. And we actually saw Aaron Tippin. This has been 15 years ago at least. It was like an Independence Day thing at a very big church. Our friends invited us to go, and he set up by his booth after the show, and he was like, anybody that gets in line, I'm going to take a selfie with you. But we're not doing this BS where like you hold it. Like he goes, I'm going to take your phone. I'm going to take a selfie with it. I've got a selfie with Aaron Tippin that
That's
he's
awesome.
took a picture with us. And then Crystal went up. She got one. And I mean, he's just a super, super cool, super chill
That's
guy. So we had a
awesome.
lot of fun with that one. And, I've honestly been to more concerts this year, I think, than I ever had been in my entire life combined. So
That's awesome though. I mean, and I'm finding more that like, I mean, it's definitely like everybody says the experiences are much better. And like one thing I'm trying to get better about, I was had this discussion with somebody the other day where when I go out and do stuff, I try to be more cognizant on being there and being present versus just taking pictures and videos of whatever I'm there for
Mhm.
versus just enjoying it for what it is. And then like I'll look around and see some people just watching through their phone and I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, yeah, you get it, but it's not the same.
yeah.
And
geez, I'm blanking on the song. There's a song, I think it's a John Mayer song where he talks about like seeing the world through the lens of your camera versus like seeing
right,
it.
right.
And that was a long time ago. Yeah, that was before
Yeah,
everyone had a camera phone in their pocket. I mean, they had flip phones with some camera, but like I
different.
think about that and there's a part of me that I go, okay, I want to remember this day. Then I also think about like my kids one day, like if anything happens to me, they can get access to my Google Photos, and now they can see the stuff that was important to me. They're also going to see a bunch of memes and pictures of random car parts and model numbers. But
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, I think about it, then I go, it's going to be such overload that they're not going to sift through all of it the way we would like a photo album. Right now, the good
Right.
thing is one of the good things from the Google AI stuff and all that is like now I can go to Google Photos and go, okay, show me pictures of my dad. I click them and it literally knows all the pictures that he's in. My dog.
Yeah.
They did National Dog Day the other day. I was able to like click Belle's face and it shows me all the pictures it has her in 'em.
Mhm.
But so it's cool, but I do, so last Friday we went and there was a
You take a
concert at
lot
a
of the
local.
personal side of it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so we went to a concert. It was a Rock the 90s. There was a super cool, like, local group, and several of them are involved in several bands. Like, their guitarist does, like, a cover, like, old classic country band. I didn't
Right.
know he did that. So I'm actually planning to try to figure out when they've got a show coming up and go see it. But I had told him he plays our local restaurant. He'll come play keys and just sing, and hang out. And I was talking to him, I was like, I don't know if you guys ever do, have photographers at your shows. I said, I'd love to come shoot a show just to get some experience and work with you guys. And so I went down, and while I enjoyed the show, I was working,
Mhm.
and so was trying to make sure I get good shots for them. But they put on a hell of a show. And so they're actually going to do another show here in town. I think it's like early next year. It's not soon, but we've seen them once before where we just went. And so I'll go again. And it's like, I'm just going to go. But that very next night, Demon Jones did an album release party. I think I sent you the link to his new album
You
that just
did.
come out. But I pre-ordered CD and vinyl of it
Oh,
just to,
really? That's
to
awesome.
support an artist,
Hell yeah.
but he's going to autograph them and everything. The first, the pre-orders will all be autographed when they come out. I was going to order the shirt because the album's called Road to Heaven, but it's got an old, Ford pickup on the back of it. I was like, I'll just get the CD and the vinyl.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's still pretty cool.
no, it's super cool, man. And so he put on so that night he did the album release party, and it's a very small venue, and he plays much bigger places than that, but near his hometown. And then he's actually got a song on there called Jones County Boys, and he was like, well, I got everybody here, so we may as well record the music video. So they recorded a
Yeah.
bunch of live footage from us at the concert for
That's
the music
cool.
video of it. So that
That's
was
pretty
neat.
cool.
But when I went, I told my wife, I was like, I could take my camera, and at least get some good shots. Like I'm not doing it
Right.
as I'm not paid to do it, or I'm not like, I haven't even been asked to do it, but I'll just take my camera. And I was like, I really like his music. And I've told people before, like it's weird because I was getting into listening to his stuff around the time that dad died. And then it became like, that was the thing that if I was having a shit day, I was
Mhm.
going to listen to. And you always hear people like, oh,
Right.
these songs got me through this or that. And I had a lot of songs I really loved, but I really get it now, and so I was like, "No, I'm going to this concert with him, and just me and
Mhm.
Crystal are gonna go. I'm gonna have some
That's
beers, and
awesome,
I'm just
man.
going to enjoy it." And I think I took one video, and I
Big X
took
the plug is my go-to right now.
so my 17-year-old's all about been talking about him like crazy, but, he's doing a bunch of songs with a bunch of country
He
rappers,
is. He is. And
and I think it's cool as hell. Like,
yeah.
I love seeing this because I've always been a guy with a really eclectic, like, music I like
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm all over the
everything.
place.
And people are always like, I'm going to test that. And they'll send me some obscure shit. And sometimes I'm like, that's not my bag, but that band might have something that I like.
Right.
Right.
So, I like some
But I
heavy
love
music
seeing
too.
this
Some people
stuff
will
come
send me
together.
some
Yeah.
really, really heavy stuff, and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, I'm into a lot of stuff, and I might, like you said, appreciate some of their other songs, but some stuff that I listen to that is, like, really heavy, whatever, I'm like, I just can't. I don't hate it, but it's not something I can just ride around and jam to all the time.
Right. I can
Yeah.
appreciate what it is,
Right.
for the type of music is whatever. But yeah, I said this the other day, or maybe I made a post on TikTok today about it. Like I'm a lyrics guy. Like the music matters because the music's going to
It
set the
does.
mood. But
It
if the
does.
lyrics are awful, that's not gonna be a song I just wanna keep coming back to, and, I'm just
I've been
bands like
making
Matchbox 20 and Fuel and all those that,
mhm.
they would have lyrics that were kinda deep. The first CD I remember buying with my own money was, 7 Year Itch from Collective Soul, and, like,
Okay.
they've got really good, lyrical songs, and I don't know, when you get into that really heavy stuff, we're like, "Oh, it's this," heavy, heavy metal, right? Like the
Yeah, I mean
all the band names, like the font just looks like static. I don't know how to explain that a word can look like static, but that's what I think they're going for. A lot of that, it's not that I would say, "Oh, you're dumb for liking that." It's just I'm not gonna ride
no,
around like you said and
no,
listen to
no,
it.
no. And some of it I don't mind, depends on the mood I'm in, but sometimes I'm just like, "Look, I need something that's not that, that bad. Not bad, but, not that. I can't do it all the time." And that's like I can't do country all the time. I can't do, like we were talking about that today. Me and a few coworkers went out to lunch and we were talking about CDs or something, and the one coworker was like, "CDs? What the hell are we gonna play a CD on nowadays?" And I guess her car didn't have a CD player on it or whatever. And I was like, "Yeah." Then we started talking about that, about me having CDs in my Trans Am, and I listened to them in there. And I was like, honestly, both my other vehicles have CD players in them, but they both have Bluetooth. Choose Bluetooth just because it's convenient. And but then we were talking about CDs, and like sometimes you go through these old burnt CDs you've had, and then you find a song or hear a song you haven't heard in a really long time that used to be like your number one for a while, and you hear it on like something of yours that you've had for around forever, and it's like, holy crap, I remember this. I remember where I was in this point of life and what this song did for me. And it's just pretty cool how music will do that to you and all the wave of emotions it'll bring back.
Well, so when, the lead singer for Three Doors Down announced that, he'd gotten a cancer diagnosis, and he said in the article, he's like, there's a song that Three Doors Down, I don't know if you know it, it's called "It's Not My Time," or "Not My Time." And he was like, I'm just going to listen to that on repeat. I'm going to keep, I'm going to fight this thing and all that.
Mhm.
It reminded me, of that album, and I went and found it on Spotify, and there is a song on there called Duck and Run. And like, I don't know many people that know the Three Doors Down song Duck and Run, but man, I could have played that CD and like just hit back and just played that track over, played
Yeah.
it over. And I don't, but yeah, you're right. And it's funny, like, Nickelback is the same way for me. I know you guys can come in the comments and give all the hate that you want. I don't give a shit. Never stopped liking them. They're just
Nickelback and
that,
Creed was a big part of our lives in the early 2000s, late 90s. It's just it
yeah.
is what it is, and if you didn't listen, you say try to act like you never listened to it back then, you're full of shit.
Dude, I could show you my high school, our senior year, we did they always do like a shirt, like a and ours were like these tie-dye shirts, but we had to decide like what was gonna go on them. And like almost the entire senior class, like we have the lyrics to the chorus of Photograph on the back of our
Yeah.
senior shirts from
That's awesome.
2006. Like, I had a couple Nickelback CDs back then, and those songs, you know, I've always, went
Mhm.
back to those. And like I said, Three Doors Down was a good one. Listened to a lot of the Gorillas in high school. Love the Gorillas,
Yeah.
man.
So, like, their first couple albums I liked a lot, but then there was a I don't know, there are one too that I enjoy, but not all of it.
Well, they're
Uh,
the type that I think they experiment musically with a
they
lot of
do,
different
they
things. And
do.
so they're going to have something that isn't your thing. And,
So
and I'm the same way.
So I will say that is like I know we might have spoke about it before. I know I've spoken to other people about it, and I'm sure that somebody will bitch and cry. I don't care. That's just my opinion. That doesn't mean that I dislike them as a whole. I agree that they are a big part of it, but like the Beatles, I'm not a super huge Beatle fan. I agree that they are a big part of music, and maybe some ways of music where we are today. The Beatles were big on experimenting on stuff. I mean, they'd be on LSD and stuff and putting like jars over microphones, doing crazy shit. And the back in the '60s, and people were like, "What the hell are you doing?" But look,
What is the song where the guy literally starts the song? He's screaming into the pickups on his guitar, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't know unless you try.
no. Well, and then like the Beatles, I'm not a big Stones fan. Now that being said, I know the importance of them. There's songs that I really enjoy, but I just can't get into them as a whole.
Well,
You know,
I'm going to tell you three. And like, if we get canceled, we get canceled. But it is what it is. It's just the
hey, I
honest
used
truth.
to
And my
listen to
wife and
Ace
I
of Base all the time.
listen to what?
I used to listen
You
to Ace
broke
of
up.
Base. What are you talking about?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to name three, and I'm going to tell you, like, people are going to hate me. And as I say these, it'll get progressively worse.
Yeah,
But there
yeah.
are three groups or musicians, whatever, that I can appreciate what they did for music and bringing music forward and the things that maybe they introduced. But I can think of maybe one song I care to actually listen to because it's something that I find interesting. Otherwise, I don't care. And it's Elvis. Okay, but
But I got to be in the mood for it.
okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
And
Continue.
the Beatles are one.
Yeah, yeah,
And again, I mean, the Beatles have some songs, and it's like, if I hear it, I'm not like, oh God, change it. But I'm not going, man, I need to pick up that Beatles CD, or
yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
to queue them up on Spotify. And the other, I, I'm hesitant to say this because we're going to get like shut down, but it's Nirvana.
Yeah.
I, again,
I
they did
mean,
some great things.
like had
Smells Like Teen Spirit, everybody knows.
one good album.
Right. I mean, and
I'm not. I mean, yeah, I agree.
again, a lot of people were touched by Nirvana. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with saying,
No, 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 no.
that Nirvana is your all-time favorite band of all time. That's fantastic. And I'm a lyrics guy, and they had some good lyrics, but I just don't think, man, I want to make sure I've got all their songs on my playlist on
Right.
Spotify or
Now,
whatever.
and but then I think about it, like I went through a stage and I still really enjoy it where I was really big into hair metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it. And I still am.
Dude, Def Leppard,
But
Motley Crue, Rat,
yeah, so I
it's
love
all
Motley Crue.
yeah,
But then we went, then you think of like, oh, you got the whole grunge era with, Nirvana and what's his name? What's the other big grunge band from the 90s?
I mean, you had who'd you name? Sorry.
I said Nirvana. Who was one of the other big hitters? It's right there on the tip of my tongue. Rooster, what's their name?
The Alice in Chains?
Alice in Chains. Sorry, I'm brain farting. I mean, I Alice in Chains is way over Nirvana to me. Alice in Chains any day.
100%. Yeah.
But
I loved
I
Alice in
used
Chains, and,
there
like
was there was time periods where I'm like, I don't hate it, but I'm like, I like this more. They're killing this. Fuck you guys. But
Mm.
now sitting back and maybe it's just being older and seeing it different things. But like now I'm like riding around listening to like Big X the Plug all the time, like hell yeah. But then I'm like, I'm this old dude jamming to some off the wall shit. At the same time, I'm like, I guess the music does change, and you get your time frames change, and you go through these different phases in your life. Doesn't mean you got to stick to one thing forever. And
yeah.
it's just wild.
You always come back to what you love, and, like, I mean, Lincoln Park is a prime example of, I they just about couldn't release a song that I didn't like or listen to in high school and
Their first
college.
couple albums, but then I guess they kind of not really fell off, but
Well, so it brings me to, what I was gonna say is that when they released their last album before Chester Bennington, you know,
passed.
unfortunately left us, they got a lot of hate because 'cause they're like, "Oh, it's turning into pop," or "It's this," and they did an interview and they're like, "Look, we're musicians and human beings. It doesn't mean when we play a show, we're not gonna play the songs that everybody loves, but if we keep making songs that sound the same,
Hmm.
we're not doing like, we set out to be musicians as our career and do that thing that
Hmm.
we loved,
Right,
and that might mean changing musically, just like our music
right,
tastes as people change, what we wanna listen
right,
to, like, as a musician, they wanna play some different stuff too, and so I
right.
could appreciate that while saying, "That song's really not for me. I'm gonna go listen to Meteora. You
Hell
listen to the
yeah,
new one if you like it." You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, that's
yeah.
cool. I'm all about it, and let them do what they wanna do. But, like, it was just, you know, I don't know.
So
It was a everybody says this about it was a great time for music. I
yeah,
definitely always felt like I loved the older stuff. I loved, like I said, Rat, Motley Crue, obviously Van Halen, and everything. But
the awesome part is my 17-year-old loves all that stuff. She's just like rocker at heart. She's got Motley Crue shirts she wears all the time. She's big into Van Halen, Def Leppard, but then she'd be listening to Billie Eilish or she'll be listening to Suicide Boys too.
Mm.
And some of the Suicide Boys, I'm like, I can listen to some of them like, hell yeah. And then some of it, I'm like, what the fuck are we listening to? I can't do
so
this.
my daughter, when she was, I don't know, 13, 14, we're in the car and we're like, check out Limp Bizkit, check out Papa Roach, or whatever. And
Yeah.
she's like, this is cringy. And then as she got into high school, she had some friends and they had things like Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach and System of a Down on their playlist. And
They
then she
knew
was like,
what's
oh,
up.
okay.
They knew
She's
what's
like,
up.
okay, let me check this out. So she actually, because you just discredit it when your parents are trying to push it on you.
Right, right, right. It is.
But like now she's got System of a Down t-shirts and Linkin Park t-shirts and
Yeah.
all that. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome because we can listen to the same stuff. And like when we went to the Rock the 90 show, like she went with us,
That's awesome.
so she loves music too. And so it's great to share that with her. But nice.
So speaking of the what you call it, the Beatles. So, I knew the Beatles, I knew some of the songs, but I never really, got into them. But then I remember what my mom was like, "Oh, you've never seen this movie." My mom played music when she was in school. I have her original acoustic guitar, and she bought it when she was like 15, and more or less that's what I learned to play on, and it still sounds like new. It still looks amazing. It's not without its flaws, but I mean, it still sounds great. It's a nice guitar. It needs a better case. I need to order one. But I think I might try to pull it out here soon and restring it and try to clean it up, get a new case for it, and start playing that one some because I've been playing a lot on my guitar lately. I've been picking it up quite a bit. I put strings on it a few weeks ago. Kind of had a lot going on. I'm like, I'm just getting back into playing a little bit for my own mind and body. Whenever I've gone through hard times in my life, music has always been there for me. And I've noticed I always play really heavy, not necessarily heavy music, but I play very consistently. And I wouldn't say I get good, but I get farther along in the skill and learning songs and singing and playing a lot more than I ever would in any other times in my life. And I've been playing a lot lately. And like I pulled out my electric, was playing with it the other night. And I'm like, I don't know when the last time I put strings on this thing was. I bought my electric guitar, my Ibanez that I had when I was like 15, and I put strings on it probably 5 or 6 years ago. and that thing still holds tune like perfect. The strings are great, stayed in the case. I think it's like Ernie Ball Super Slinkies on it or something. That's what I've always used to run
Mm.
on it. But then I use whatever, some really high end ones on my acoustic, and they're nice. I use a light strings because I got pussy fingers. But so the Beatles
Dude,
thing.
mine have
Sorry.
gotten like
Yeah. I'm
pretty
working on it.
pretty tough to get.
So when I first started playing as a kid, I learned everything through tablature and by ear. And I never sang or anything. We always played heavier music. I had a 7-string Stage Master for a long time. If anybody has one that's like the mine was a Squire 7-string Stage Master, it had a left-handed neck, right-hand guitar, Floyd Rose, and it was a double locking, and it was like a dark, dark gray, black with like a metal flake, a super heavy guitar. If anybody has one, I want one. Nostalgic for me, but I want another one bad.
You're holding society back, Chris,
So
according to Cooper.
I I do want another. I want a single fat telly really bad. I want my own Strat. I bought my daughter a Strat clone. It's actually really good guitar. I need to get with her and get her to learn it, play on it some. But it's different. Like me and my daughter stress each other out when I try to teach her to play. And I want her to get lessons with someone, and I want her to want to play. And like
Mhm.
I found for me that I always want to play when I get in these hard times, and then I just kind of take it upon myself and really dive deep into it. And like
Mhm.
the last several weeks, I haven't played for months, years, whatever. In the last several weeks, I've learned multiple songs front to back within days and singing
Yeah.
them too.
Yep. Putting mine
And
on the
I don't
wall.
sing well, but I sing.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm a singer. Not a good singer, but I'm a singer.
Well,
You're either gonna deal with it or not, but it's
and so
I'm gonna do it.
some friends of mine that like my best friend that I went to high school with, we were in each other's weddings. We've played some old shows together years ago, and his thing was like we played music together since we were in middle school. When we got out of school, we got started with some guys, and he would start playing some open mic nights. And like his thing is, you don't always have to be perfect. He's like, you go out there and just you try and you belt it. He's like, the more you do it, he said a lot of times you go places, you go to sing somewhere live, like in a bar or something, that's a good practice. I mean, I like playing just singing by myself, and I've been trying to, like, play a little bit and record. So just, it's kinda fun. And, like, I found there's some videos of floating around on YouTube, me playing guitar back when I still had hair. And, like, I'm like, "Huh, I'll do it now." I'm like, "Wow, gained a lot of weight.
So,
I lost a lot of hair."
there's a lot of truth to, like, just showing up or just doing it, and that's,
Yeah, yeah,
putting
yeah.
my guitar on the wall where I can grab it. Like, today, I had some kinda stressful shit happen at work, and
Mhm.
literally to be able to, like, between meetings, like, I'll grab it and just play. And sometimes I'm just improvising, just doing something, I'll pull up YouTube and turn on, like, a drum beat and just, like, improvise blues stuff to it or whatever. Um, it really does, like, there's some stuff that I was working on. I was trying to do, What It's Like, from Everlast, and it's like you play a D minor and, you've got your pinky on the, what, 3rd fret, and then you hammer off, and then you have to switch to 2 chords pretty quick, and then you're back to the D minor, and, like, I just could not get it down, and so I just started playing it slower, and I did it
Right.
over and over and over, and then it got a little faster, and same thing with, December from Collective Soul. It's a pretty complex, like,
Yeah.
little finger picking thing, and I was doing it
So
real slow, and, like, now I can go a little faster than the song is, so it's like now I know I
yeah.
can start to embellish,
So
and I
for
don't know.
me, I always when I played when I was younger, we did a lot of picking songs, a lot of heavier songs, and then now I'm kinda gotten into playing a lot more country stuff. I gotta get back into doing but for me, if I'm gonna do, like, singing at all, it's just easier playing strumming, and sometimes just with everything I got going, I just wanna be able to yell. It helps, but, alright, I keep getting off track. So my mother always pushed me into music stuff, songs, she was big into, like, I guess the Southern rock, old school countries, stuff like that. Well, we talked about the Beatles, and she had me watch the Sergeant Pepper's movie when I was a kid. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not.
Mhm.
The Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. So the Sergeant Pepper's was an album by the Beatles. The movie had the Bee Gees in it, and the Bee Gees starred in the movie and sang all the Beatles songs. And I'm like, this is amazing. I did not know it was Beatles stuff at the time. It had Peter Frampton in it, the Bee Gees. It had all these big bands from like the 70s and 80s. It had Earth, Wind, and Fire in it. And it's a musical. It had Aerosmith was in it, Alice Cooper.
Jeez.
Yeah, it had a lot of big hitters. Steve Martin played in it in a small role, but they all sang Beatles songs in this movie. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I went back later and realized it was the Beatles. And I listened to the Sgt. Pepper's album from the Beatles. I'm like, this kind of sucks. But I mean, it didn't like suck, but like after hearing it, all this other stuff, I'm like, this is amazing. But it's
Well,
definitely
I
a
mean,
good one.
it's
I like musicals, but like musicals with like rock type music, not like, not the what's the big one? The Sound of Music. I've
Sound of
watched
Music.
it. I watched it. I was in band and I watched it, but I like Rock of Ages because it's kind of goofy, hairband,
You know, I've never watched Rock of Ages. That's the one with,
Tom
no.
Cruise. Tom Cruise
Yeah,
is
yeah,
in it,
okay.
and
Yeah.
Julianne Hughes. I'm not a Tom Cruise fan at all. There's two movies he was in I like, and or three, I guess now, but I'm not a Tom Cruise fan. But I like the music. I like kind of the vibe it gave. And I really enjoy like all the stuff of like, from back in like the 70s, 80s, 90s there in California with all the whiskey a go go and the bars and stuff. And like how all these eight big hair bands came alive, from going and playing in all these really rough and tough bars. And that's kind
Mm.
of what that movie shows. And it's got all these really big, heavy hitting songs in that movie. And I've watched this movie so many times. But Sergeant Pepper's, look it up. It's a good movie. It's kind of
Well, and then there
trippy.
was the time that Cheech and Chong played in the Battle of the Bands.
Oh God. But no,
We
I
should have
like
never
that
been
one.
renting those movies at Blockbuster at the age we were
Yeah,
watching them, but
that's
that's
true.
it's all in the past.
But I think we should get back onto some cars. So I know we spoke a little bit about it. We were going to talk a little bit about mini trucks, and we don't want to
Yeah.
go too deep
I
into
think
it tonight. We can
Yeah, I
probably
think we
add
might
it.
have to give a teaser for doing mini
Yeah.
trucks in the future because I've got an idea for some T-shirts for our mini truck folks. And there's a couple
Yeah.
guys I met at a local car show that big into mini trucks. They like the
So I've
lowered and
got
slam stuff.
some guys here that are into mini trucks, like actual like slam mini trucks. One guy local that built had a shop for many years that built a lot of really big, crazy lifted trucks and then slam mini trucks because like it's wild. He was big into the big lifted trucks, and then his brother was into the mini trucks. And both of these guys, like the one brother into the mini trucks is like 6'3", 6'5", and he gets in these Toyotas that are literally the pinch welds are on the ground. And I'm like, what are you doing? But I mean, and that's all I've never known the dude to drive. But then his brother's into like these big, crazy, lifted square bodies with like 14-inch wide tires on them. And it's just complete opposites of the spectrum. It's pretty cool. But no, mini trucks. I've got an idea of something I would like to build in the future. Probably, something to help me deflect on not building my Trans Am like I should be. But we'll have to talk about that in the future. But mini trucks, there's a lot of cool options out there. I've never been too much into the Asian ones. That's a big thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we'll
maybe
have to.
we'll bring that in the next episode.
One of the local guys around here is big into him. He's in a car club. It's a Negative Camber.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, they're a big group and they've got some amazing rides. So he had a white OBS with all red, like his fifth or sixth gen Camaro interior in it. It
Wow.
was sweet. It had billet specialty wheels. I don't know if they were 24s or bigger, but they were amazing. And I drooled over that truck. We went to Cars and Coffee and saw it. And he ended up selling it and he bought a big lifted, like newer truck. But I think he's got it for sale now. I think the bugs got him again and he's wanting to build something. But
Yeah,
he does some amazing stuff. But maybe him or if literally anybody's into like mini trucks, lowered trucks, stuff like that, and wants to come hang out
yeah.
with us for our next episode, like I
That'd
think
be
that'd be
pretty
cool as
cool.
hell. Because I don't
That would
know
be
much
cool.
about them, but I love them. Like I appreciate the hell of it. I even
Right.
like the old like the wild, like the graphics with when they do
Yeah,
the
I
graphics down the
love the
side.
graphics. Honestly, one day I'd like to get into talking about some of like the lowriders from like the 80s, 90s, where they were real
Mhm,
big into like like 64 Impalas, with the wire
mhm.
wheels. And like I remember seeing that stuff. I'm like, man, that's kind of whatever. But then now you never see anything like that. And I'm like, I've seen it. There's a guy that rides around town local to me that's got like an 80s model G body Cutlass or something. It's kind of beat, Like he's
Yeah.
got hydraulics on it and like wire wheels. He'll ride down the road. He'll like pop it up in the air. I'm like, that's badass
I
because
love the
nobody's
wire
doing it
wheels.
anymore.
When my
Yeah.
best friend got his 61 Fairlane, it had like some wheels like that on it, and I was like,
Man.
man, I would want to keep that. But a
Yeah.
lot of the spokes were rusty in there, and he was like, they look okay from 10 feet,
Yeah.
but he wanted something nicer, and he's got some amazing looking wheels in there now. But he actually just got a small block stroker motor to go in that thing. So he pulled the
Wow.
V6 out of it and
Cool.
sold it, and it's going to be badass when he gets done. The interior in it, his mom redid the interior in it, and it's insane how
Yeah.
nice it is. So I'm excited to see what he does with that car. And it's got me wanting like an older, like just a cruiser, and
So,
there's a local guy selling an old, I think it's a Lincoln or something. So there's a local group called the Grave Shifters, which I
okay.
think they're bigger than just our local area, but that's what they do, man. It's like lowered, like the old
Okay.
Cadillacs and Lincolns and stuff. And man, there's one, the guy's selling it, and
Right.
I, I'm like, man,
So,
if I sold my 2014 pickup, I could buy it.
so I guess I'll leave it off on this. Like, and we can discuss it in our next episode. I've never been a huge super fan of the super low mini trucks. I like them, but I've always been more, I want something's a little more practical to do most anything that I need to do in use. I've had a couple, my dad's had a Dakota, I had a Dakota. David's got one we use all the time for anything and everything. The S10 pickups, the same thing. I always wanted like the 94 to like 2000 ish. I wouldn't
Hmm.
mind having like a regular cab, short bed. I've never been a huge Ranger fan, but I have some ideas of a truck I'd like to build one day. I've always wanted to do the S10, but I kind of have another plan. But it wouldn't be something super slam, but I wouldn't necessarily be a lifted truck
Hmm.
because a lot of them have IRS in them and it's kind of goofy. But I will say that those trucks in that size frame are very maneuverable in doing a lot of things like getting in and out of tight places, yards. If you are wheeling them, I think it's pretty cool to wheel a smaller Tacoma, older Toyota
Hmm.
pickup, Ranger S10. This is like a big square body or a Jeep because I'm not necessarily a Jeep guy. I'd prefer to have a truck bed. And I know for maybe not all, it's not the best, whatever. And I'm talking about practicality for a lot of stuff where I can still throw shit in the bed, haul some stuff if I need to. It maybe not be the
Hmm.
best truck to tow. But no, I've got a, a plan on something I'd like to do eventually. But to leave it off, if I were to buy a new truck today, and I would still keep like my Suburban for towing and hauling the kids and things like that, I want a Maverick, an all-wheel drive EcoBoost Maverick, and to do like a small lowering to have a nice daily. So I can have a little bit of a truck bed to throw a couple of bags in trash if I need to every now and then, something that gets maybe 20, 30 miles a gallon. I don't know much about them outside of that because it wouldn't be something I'd want to do anything crazy with, but have it just a nice semi economical daily because all the full size trucks out there now are fucking outrageous. I love a Tacoma, but I don't have Tacoma money, and they're the size of a full size GMT 800
Yeah.
these days. So it's like for what I would need one for, and for what I wouldn't want to give up with my towing vehicle, something like that for just a daily work vehicle that I can get back forth to work in. I've thought about later down the road, depending on how things go, maybe get one of them through a business account or something, and that'd be my business vehicle. But no, something like that with like a size truck like that. But I have a build truck I'd love to do, a bucket list build that maybe we can discuss in another episode.
Yeah. We'll talk mini trucks next episode, or and so if anybody's interested in those or knows about them, wants to come hang out next week, let us know. And I think we'll wrap it up there because if I go down my marketplace adventures, we'll be here for another hour, and
Nah,
I've
yeah,
got
me
kids to
too.
tuck in. So
Yeah,
if
I've
you
gotta
you
get to bed
guys
too.
like, yeah, if you guys like mini trucks, hate mini trucks, tell us. If you want to come after me with torches and pitchforks for not caring for Nirvana a whole lot, you can do that too.
Or the
But yeah,
Beatles.
just yeah, we're the Beatles. Just leave some comments, likes, dislikes, whatever. We want to hear all the feedback, and yeah, we'll pick it up next week, and I'm sure that my marketplace, the Tahoe has not sold yet, so I'm sure there'll be even more stories to add to the saga by
Oh
the time we
god.
meet up again. So
Oh, and also, Nickelback and Creed are number 1.
yeah, love Nickelback. Have you watched the documentary?
I have not. Where is it? I need to look it up.
Netflix. It's about Nickelback and kind of how all of a sudden they were like universally hated and
Okay,
like but
I'll
it's
look it
their
up.
whole like story of how they got together as a band and all that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll look it up.
It was a pretty good documentary.
All
Well,
right.
cool.
Well,
Well, let's
we
call it
will.
there, and
Yeah, I think we did pretty good.
yeah, we'll see
We had
y'all
a
in the
lot to
next one.
talk about.
We
All right.
did. We did.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Have a good evening, folks.
All right. See y'all.